All right, let's dive right into this explainer. We are going to completely unpack a massive paradigm shift that's happening literally right now. We're moving entirely away from the old days of manual web design and stepping firmly into the era of AI-driven architecture. Today, we're using hard data from the latest 2026 platform analyses to break down exactly how this landscape is shifting and, far more importantly, how you can leverage it for your own projects.
Here is our quick roadmap for today. 1. The AI web design shift. 2. Power tools for agencies. 3. Mastering aesthetics and sales. 4. Speed and small business. And 5. Choosing your ideal platform.
Okay, let's kick things off with Section 1, the AI web design shift, prompting over dragging.
$6.44 billion. Just let that number sink in for a second. That is the projected market size for AI website building by 2030, which represents a massive 17.4% annual growth rate. So this isn't just a trend. Actually, scratch that. It's not a trend at all. It's a fundamental transformation of the entire industry. You aren't just building sites anymore. You're prompting, and you're deploying complete architectures in minutes.
And businesses aren't jumping on this just for the novelty of it, They're chasing concrete, data-backed benefits. 73% of small business owners are adopting AI design this year alone. Why? Well, because AI-driven layout personalization is driving a 19% average increase in conversion rates. Plus, consumer expectations have totally shifted. 64% of consumers now explicitly expect businesses to use AI to deliver a faster web experience.
So the absolutely crucial point here is understanding the technology that's driving all of this. We've totally moved past simple text generators that just spit out static code snippets. We are now dealing with what's called agentic frameworks. Take a tool like Angie for Elementor, for instance. It doesn't just write text, it acts as an autonomous creative partner. It dynamically reads your database context, executes multi-step tasks natively across the WordPress admin panel, and it even tests that generated code in an isolated sandbox environment before it ever hits production. It is a completely different level of automation.
Moving right along to Section 2, Power Tools for Agencies. Volume, Custom Logic, and Handoffs.
If your agency is juggling multiple client sites, platforms like Wix Studio and Duda are really leading the charge by focusing heavily on collaborative, hosted environments. For example, over 50% of new Wix users last year adopted Wix Studio features, heavily driven by game-changing tools like the responsive toggle. Look, if you have ever lost a whole afternoon crying over a broken CSS grid on mobile, you are going to love this. You design a section on desktop, you click once, and it automatically calculates the viewports for tablet and mobile. It literally eliminates hours of manual tweaking.
But before you lock in a tool, you face a pretty massive contrast in hosting philosophies. It's the big dilemma. Do you want a hosted, closed-loop ecosystem like Wix or Duda, which vastly simplifies maintenance but locks you into their proprietary platform, or do you need the portability of WordPress, where you and your client retain total ownership and migration freedom?
Now, if you lean towards that ownership side of things, platforms like One-Click Website and Elementor Pro are fantastic options. One-Click Website, for example, is highly optimized for local business sales. It connects prospect discovery to a demo-first outreach, turning a short intake form into a complete multi-page WordPress site. By choosing this open-source route, agencies get the sheer speed of AI generation, but without ever forcing their clients to abandon standard WordPress admin access or their independent hosting. It's kind of the best of both worlds.
Up next is Section 3, Mastering Aesthetics and Sales, E-commerce and Motion Design. Okay, but before we get swept away by the flashy visuals, we've got to address the elephant in the room. This is the biggest fear people have. Will using these AI layout generators negatively impact my SEO?
Well, the data gives a pretty clear no, as long as you're using the right tools. Remember, search engines rank based on relevance, performance, and user experience. So as long as you steer clear of fragmented tools that spit out heavy inline CSS, your rankings are completely safe. The top-tier platforms are specifically engineered to output clean, semantic HTML and actively automate your core web vitals for you.
Think about how aesthetic-first platforms are evolving, like Squarespace Blueprint. Instead of just typing a generic text prompt, you're guided through a whole visual system. You define your brand's intent, you select your functional blocks, and then the AI applies a custom color palette. It essentially automates premium curation. And get this, it's capable of spinning up over 1.4 billion unique design combinations, all while making sure the final output remains totally magazine quality.
For highly specialized needs, you have some distinct leaders.
Shopify's AI is incredibly focused on e-commerce, giving retail merchants a 20% faster time to market for new collections. Plus, their Sidekick Assistant acts like a literal data analyst for your store. If you need advanced UI motion, Framer acts almost like a vector design tool, giving you spring-based scroll physics and instant Figma to HTML deployment. And Webflow? Well, it remains the absolute powerhouse for bespoke, visually developed marketing sites.
Moving on to Section 4, Speed and Small Business, Zero to Launch Ecosystems.
30 seconds, literally half a minute. That staggering number is all the time a platform like Durable needs to generate a totally functional, multi-page site. We're talking highly relevant copy, stock images, and a built-in lightweight CRM. It is instantly ready for a local plumber or a freelance accountant to start using.
But what if your idea of speed means taking a clunky old site and moving it to a faster framework? 10Web attacks this perfectly with their website replicator. You just paste a target URL, the AI extracts the document object model and the media, recreates the entire layout in Elementor, and then applies a page speed booster guaranteeing a score of 90+. I mean, it effectively eliminates days of manual wireframing and cloning work. And then, for those prioritizing financial speed and super low barriers to entry, you have tools like Hostinger. They offer managed hosting, a visual builder, and a free domain at highly competitive rates. But what's truly fascinating here is that they bundle in predictive heat maps. It literally maps out likely user click zones before you even launch. So it removes the financial risk of getting a new idea off the ground while still handing budget-conscious users access to cutting-edge analytics.
Finally, Section 5, Choosing Your Ideal Platform, the 2026 Comparison Matrix.
The secret here isn't looking for the objective best tool overall. It's about finding where your specific operating model fits into the data. If you're an agency selling local business sites and you need a CRM-independent workflow, One-Click Website is your target. If you're a mid-sized agency wanting responsive calculations and billing dashboards, Wix Studio is your absolute perfect match. UI designers are going to flock to Framer, and retail merchants obviously need Shopify.
There's a quote from Elementor's SEO team lead that perfectly captures the reality of 2026. They say, artificial intelligence has shifted how we approach site architecture completely. We're no longer wireframing from scratch. And they hit the nail on the head. The toolset has truly evolved from basic task execution into a genuine creative partnership. We are prompting structural logic that already understands search intent straight out of the box.
Ultimately, when you strip it all away, your foundational choice comes down to this core philosophy: portability versus simplicity. You really have to decide whether it's more critical for your business to retain open-source ownership of your code, or if you'd rather just lean into the sheer convenience and integrated maintenance of a closed-loop platform.
We've laid out the entire landscape and the data, but now the most exciting part is totally up to you. With tools capable of generating custom architectures, predicting user heat maps, and deploying animations in mere seconds, which platform will you harness to build the future of the web? Keep learning, keep experimenting, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.